Excellent.
So
Hello, I can hear you now.
Great. That's good. Looks like a beautiful day on Denny Island there.
It's a nice sunny day again.
Yay, that's great. Yahoo.
we're just organizing the gallery, so we'll be another minute or two before we start.
Yeah. Yes, yes, clearly. All right, welcome. Okay, okay. All right. Mark. Mark. Okay.
I'm just gonna grab a mic.
This ledge. I'm supposed to watch her. You're sitting there. Here's for you. Yeah, there it goes in.
There are 3 seats up here, if that helps.
Good to go. Okay, are we all set? Just going to request silence. We're going to call the meeting to order. I would like to start the meeting by acknowledging that we operate our services on the unceded ancestral territories of the Heiltsuk, Wekino, and Newhawk nations, as well as the Kitasoo, Heihei, and Algonquin nations. We honor our relationship with these nations. This meeting is being recorded and it will be made publicly available on our website. It is being called to order at 9:03 a.m. on February 22nd, 2024. I'm just going to do a quick roll call of directors who are present. I'm Jamie Kennedy, representing Area C. Online, we have Director Steve Emery, representing Area A. Is Director Hall with us? Director Hall, are you online? Not yet. Okay. Okay, we have Director Lawrence Northeast, representing Area D. And I think Director Ward will be joining us a little bit later on. So he's representing Area E. Directors, we do have quorum. So we can get started by reviewing the agenda. We do have a late item that was added to the agenda. We received additional feedback after the feedback form was closed, and this has been added as a late item. Therefore, I'm looking for a mover to adopt the agenda as amended. I have Director Northeast and a seconder. Director Emery, thank you very much. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay. So that adds Ken Dunsworth's letter to section 14. Next, we have the adoption of the minutes from January 25th. Will the directors please review the minutes? And any comments or questions on those? Nope. I'm looking for a mover to adopt the minutes as presented.
I can do that.
Director Northeast and a seconder. Director Emery, thank you very much. Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Great. We're going to get started with executive reports, and I will go first, and then the remaining directors in area alphabetical order. So this month, it's been a pretty busy month. I attended the Vancouver Island Regional Library AGM in Nanaimo with almost 40 other delegates. For a second year, I was elected to the executive committee. I hope to bring the voice of small and remote communities to the executive table. With so much going on out there, libraries provide a peaceful sanctuary where people can explore, learn, and discuss what's happening in the world. So they're not just about books anymore, and they're dynamic spaces that empower us to stay informed, engaged, and active in shaping our communities and democracy. I hope everybody has a chance to take advantage, in this community has a chance to take advantage of our bricks and mortar library. We're very lucky to have it here, as well as the e-resources that are available, including Libby for ebooks and audiobooks, Press Reader, which is a digital newsstand, and Canopy, which is a video streaming service. There's also online music streaming and online courses you can take. So our library cards are very valuable, and I hope everyone gets a chance to take advantage of these services. Over the past couple of weeks, I've had several meetings with constituents in my home and around town, and I've received a lot of really great supportive feedback and constructive suggestions for solutions. I can't stress enough how much I appreciate the passion and commitment of community members who are looking to work together as we advocate to change a system that is very challenging for a small regional district like ours. I would also like to thank and acknowledge everyone who took part in our budget engagement sessions or who reached out to me directly. Some great input, comments, and questions. I would like to thank our staff, especially our CFO, for putting on the sessions and putting together the information in a digestible way. We got excellent feedback, and the open house format was well done. We had some very productive conversations. So another big thank you to staff for getting the feedback into the agenda quickly, because that was a really quick turnaround. We're also happy to announce that we hear you. There is a monthly newsletter underway and in development, and the first issue is scheduled to start in March. So that is something that we have heard from the public is really important, that we update you on what's going on in our communities, on projects, activities, and topics such as asset management, asset retirement obligations, and other provincial initiatives that could affect our regional district. I'm going to keep my report short today, because we have lots of important business. And I am going to pass the floor over to Director Emery for his report.
Hello, not much going on. We had the Central Coast Chamber of Commerce annual general meeting on the weekend, and along with a pancake breakfast to lure people in to join. So that went fine. There was quite a few people. That was good. The only other thing of late was a house on a barge out here caught on fire and burnt to the ground, or burnt to the barge deck, or what have you. So that was you know, it was out on the ocean, so there was not too many extra firefighters went out there and what have you, and the person whose place burnt down didn't really tell anyone, so it was all hearsay that there was actually a fire going on until you could see the flames and the smoke when people got up.
Wow. Was everybody okay?
Yes, there was nobody living in the house. They were, I guess it's surmised that they were making this house so they could move it from one barge to another, and I guess something must have still been hot during the night, and because it's been so dry out here that it eventually caught on fire.
Yikes. Okay. Wow. Well, I'm glad to hear everybody was okay. That's pretty scary stuff. Okay.
Well, it could have been a lot worse if it had moved over. There's quite a number of boats kind of anchored up there, the Nimkish and what have you. So if the wind had gone maybe the other way and it got the boat on fire, it would have made a huge mess.
Oh man. Okay. Well, thank you for the update. I see that Director Hall is online. Director Hall, we're just doing executive reports right now, and you're up.
Yeah, I've been online for about 5 minutes. Sorry, I was a few minutes late there. As for the Reserve Health Nation, just some neat little things going on with regards to our fire services, fire response teams. There's more training coming up. They are working on creating a very safe and fast response team. I'm a volunteer firefighter, but I live out in McLaughlin Bay, so it takes me an additional 5 minutes to get to any response. But I'm looking forward to the additional changes that they're making up at the fire department. Our fishermen are organizing to create a committee to have more representation politically in some of the pushes that we're having. We're working on many of the nations are working on community commercial fishery. I've taken on a role there to assist in organizing that plan for the fishermen in the Central Coast, specifically for our nation. So yeah, a couple of neat things going on there. Aside from that, the herring are moving in now. They're getting ready to do their thing. We do not have an SOK, and that's a spot on kelp this year for a commercial fishery, but I'm sure there's going to be a number of people out there harvesting for food and what have you. So I'm hoping to get out there and set a line anyway and view for myself the returning herring spawn. Aside from that, nothing else. Good to see you all virtually, and yeah, look forward to the rest of the meeting.
Thank you, Director Hall. Excellent. Director Northeast for Area D.
Thank you, Chair Kennedy. Brief report, answering emails, talking to people in the supermarket, that's taking up a little bit of my time. I have a work-related story to share, which illustrates why I'm so thankful for the admin staff around here, because I had to go to a meeting for my job as part of an external assessment team that visits First Nation schools around the province and does their assessment for certification. And when I book my own travel, sometimes this happens. I show up a day early. I walked into the hotel conference room the other day in Richmond, a couple of weeks ago in Richmond. Again, this was for work. And they all looked at me and went, "What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here till tomorrow." So went back to my hotel room, worked on my board reports, and got a few things done. Probably got more done that day because I didn't have any interruptions. Anyway, my point, this long rambling story is I'm very thankful for the admin staff here that books my travel so I can avoid errors like that. That said, I did go to like a director's, it's a director's forum, but this one is, it was 2 days. And I'll tell you in a minute about the common issues that we faced. This forum was a little bit different because there were no mayors. There were no, what's the word I'm looking for? Counselors. We were all from regional district, or that part of regional districts where outside of the municipalities and the towns and all that. So there was a lot more, for lack of a better term, commonality, shared experience. So there were some good presentations on that. A lot of it is this is what your government, not us government, but your government, the big government, is doing in these areas. And so it gives us an opportunity to strategize if you want. But all I want to share is the common issues are housing, emergency management, economic development with a nod to environmental sustainability. So that's what I did for a couple days, and I think that's pretty much it. So thank you for listening.
Great. Thank you very much for your report. We don't have Director Ward online. Do we? No, I don't think so. Okay. Okay. Well, great. So next we have our delegation period. Delegations have 15 minutes to present. Please allow a couple of minutes while we unmute and cameras for those who are joining online. And for those attending in person, if you could please speak loudly and clearly to ensure our Outer Coast directors and online viewers can hear you. So my standard reminder to remain respectful and that this is a professional setting. I reserve the right to deny or stop any delegations that are deemed disrespectful. So that follows our procedures bylaw 519, and this includes the use of offensive language or shouting, using profane or vulgar words, issues that are, addressing issues that are not contained within the written application by the individual or organization. And we thank you in advance. So our first delegation is Mr. Kelly Nestegard. We will be presenting on sustainable electricity and obtaining electricity from Ocean Falls. Welcome. Good to see you this morning.
Thanks, Chair Kennedy. So getting electricity here from Ocean Falls, why would we want to do that? Going to throw a bunch of numbers out here. where I got these numbers. I got these from BC Hydro website. I got these numbers from Boralex websites, which is the company that operates the facility at Ocean Falls. And so, about 44 kilometers from Ocean Falls to Bella Bella. Boralex sells electricity to BC Hydro, delivered to Ocean Falls. Been told that the previous owner. And so some of the things, I just want to stop for a sec. Some of the things I'm going to say here are, they're sort of like hearsay. I haven't verified all the things I'm about to say, but that's not the main thing of my argument. So the previous owner of the facility at Ocean Falls contributed $5 million towards the wire that goes and delivers the electricity. I don't know if that's the whole cost or not at the time. That's just something that I found out recently and haven't been able to verify. So the facility at Ocean Falls right now has a capacity of about 14.5 megawatts. That's millions of watts, thousands of kilowatts. They run at about over 90%. Their typical load is their average. They're producing about 13.5 megawatts out of their 14.5 megawatt capacity. They could easily increase that capacity to 35 megawatts, which is what the company Boralex did. So here in Bella Coola in the valley, we have a base load demand of about 2.2 megawatts. We have a peak demand of about 1.4 megawatts. So if that electricity is being sold at the base rate, which I haven't checked my BC Hydro bill, it's roughly 15 cents a kilowatt. So 2.2 megawatts throughout the year it works out to be about $2.9 million that they can bill for that electricity. If we're running at peak all year long, they could bill about $5.78 million for that electricity at the base rate. Let's assume that we're running somewhere in the middle of our base load and our peak load. So that means that they can sell the electricity for about $4.33 million. Okay. Now, the generating station at Clayton Falls came online, I think, in 1961 or 1962. That's a long time ago. I don't think it's ever been upgraded. I've been told by a BC Hydro employee that if it was upgraded, that the Clayton Falls facility could supply all the electrical demands of the valley. I'm not sure about that, but I'm sure it could supply a lot more. And so every bit more that electricity that we can get out of the Clayton Falls facility is going to reduce our demand for diesel, which is where all the rest of our electricity comes from. We burn diesel here every single day. The Clayton Falls facility cannot even meet our base load on its best day. Okay. How much diesel do we burn here? About 4.5 million liters a year. I don't know how much BC Hydro pays for diesel, but I think diesel here in the valley, if you need to go buy it, costs probably close to $2 a liter. So we're spending upwards of $10 million a year here. And the electricity that we generate with that can only be sold for probably less than $6 million a year. So BC Hydro is hemorrhaging money. to keep the lights on here. It's a losing enterprise. Why aren't they doing anything about it? Well, in the past, they've done a couple of things about it. Bunch of years here, they had a project here. They wanted to see if they could use electricity that's available during off-peak hours, like in the middle of the night, basically, to produce hydrogen or hydrogen fuel cells. And then that hydrogen fuel cell, the hydrogen that they use could be run through fuel cells and used to create electricity at other times of the year. Well, they spent untold millions of dollars on this project, and they couldn't make enough hydrogen to run a pickup truck. Okay. So they tried, they failed. They've done other things to get other communities off diesel. They recently did a project up in Anaheim Lake to try to convert the diesel generating station there, which, by the way, Anaheim Lake, Nimpo Lake area is 100% diesel. They wanted to convert it to natural gas, figure out if they could do that. So I don't know exactly what the project was, how they did it, but it seems to me they could have just given a sharp guy a calculator and some pencils and papers, and he could have figured it out that it wouldn't work. Instead, they spent millions of dollars to find out that that wasn't going to work. So in Anaheim Lake, they're pretty hopeful that they're going to get off their diesel generating station because of the mine that's being built nearby. Electricity and roads coming in from Vanderhoof. And they're hoping that the electricity is going to go another 50 kilometers or whatever it is from the mine site to their grid. They're isolated. I haven't heard any announcement about them doing that. I looked, I couldn't find that that was going to happen. I couldn't find any evidence that that was going to happen. So the Newhawk Nation has done some work about sustainable electricity here in the valley. They looked at combined solar and wind, which I don't know if anybody's looked into it, but if you look into it, what you'll find is that solar and wind are incapable of meeting base load power. They're not reliable enough. They are basically a waste of money. So they looked at doing some run-of-the-river projects, and they found that they just weren't workable. The main one they looked at was on Clonic Creek. There's not enough water coming down Clonic Creek to make electricity. It just wasn't going to pay off. I don't think that was the wisest choice of locations. They should have looked elsewhere, in my opinion, but that doesn't matter. That project's not going forward now. So how do we get off diesel? It's pretty simple. It's 88 kilometers from here to Ocean Falls. We have basically twice as many people here that need electricity compared to in Bella Bella and Shearwater combined. So what I'm asking this board to do is to lobby senior government, lobby BC Hydro to get us off diesel. Get us hooked up to Ocean Falls where they have an abundance of clean, sustainable energy that we could use here. First of all, to get us off of diesel, people don't need to be breathing these diesel fumes that we put out every single day here in the valley. Right next to the biggest neighborhood in the valley. It's a terrible place for it. So we need to get off this thing. Everybody, senior governments are telling us, oh, we need to be sustainable. We need sustainable development. Well, what are they doing? What are they doing to help us do that? Nothing right now. So we need to lobby senior government and BC Hydro to put their money where their mouth is and do something for this valley so that we can have an abundance of clean, sustainable energy that we can use to grow our economy. So I'm going to end early. I didn't know how long this was going to take to make all my points, but I think I said pretty much everything I need to say about that. Unless the board has any questions they'd like to ask, I'd be willing to try to answer questions if you have any questions. If not, I'm done.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. I'm going to open it up for questions. I see that Director Hall has his hand up, so we'll start with Director Hall.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for your comments regarding hydro. As you know, that the hydro cables come out here from Ocean Falls, and Ocean Falls has the potential to create a much higher level of hydropower. Bella Bella is only using a small fraction of the potential for that facility. The unfortunate side is that they do need to create revenue or somehow get revenue to upgrade the facility to produce more. The infrastructure right now just doesn't have enough capacity even to carry the electricity that Bella Bella needs at this time. They continue to do upgrades to sections that I guess fizzle out due to the higher load payloads that is required. Bella Bella is also going on to the heat pump systems, which are electric powered, which is seemingly great for the environment, but difficult to manage when the source of the energy, the infrastructure kind of fails every year when it's wintertime and everybody's using their hydropower. Plus we have a number of new subdivisions and buildings that are going up that are also drawing that power. I do hope that something can be done to bring hydroelectricity to the valley there, considering, like you said, they do utilize a lot of the diesel generator, which is, you know, carbon causing. I hope that the facility itself will do its major upgrades in order to accommodate for additional power being drawn. And it would be amazing to see the power lines, you know, from Ocean Falls to Bella Coola. I know that in the past there was a proposal to do that, but I'm not sure why it was stopped. This was quite a number of years ago. I don't know. There's some people that are aware of that history, but yeah, why it was stopped is a huge question for me as well, considering it's a cleaner energy and sustainable, and I don't know why anyone would stand against it when it doesn't create a carbon like diesel does. Anyway, thank you for your comments, and I hope that there's some, I guess, support and some kind of mapping out of this process. Yeah, have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Hall. Director Emery or Director Order Northeast, did you have any questions or comments?
No, I'll just say that quite a few of the facts and the figures are out of whack, but maybe some people can do some more digging and get the correct information. Part of the problem is that Bella Coola right now, in the summertime, it's run by Clayton Falls just by itself. And unless there's some kind of low water event or some kind of maintenance or something, then it quite often is run strictly by Clayton Falls. And so the issue with getting power to Bella Coola is that they can't make any money at it. It's you know, if someone came up with the $80 million to put the power line in, that would be great. And the other thing is the Bitcoin is using more power than Bella Bella and Denny Island, not sure what, or Denny Island, and so there isn't that much power left.
Okay. I would be interested in what we can put together as far as advocacy efforts.
Okay, yeah, well, I would
Yeah.
urge the board to look into these
Yes.
numbers, and I can help with that if you want.
Mhm.
The statement that Director Emery made that in the summertime we run strictly off Clayton Falls
That's not.
it's not true. Our base load is 2.2 megawatts here. Clayton Falls has a capacity of 2.1 megawatts. So that's simply not true.
Okay.
Okay? And,
Whatever.
and so for what Director Hall said about the project being looked at before in the past, I spoke with a BC Hydro employee who looks at, he's kind of in charge of these non-integrated areas is what they call them, microgrids. There's a bunch of them all over northern BC. And what he told me was they looked at it and the project, they said it was not feasible. Well,
Maybe that's changed.
not feasible. Okay, so I look outside
Well,
and
that
I
just
see all
means
these
money.
vehicles. And
Yeah.
these vehicles weren't feasible 100 years ago, but now they are. This TV screen wasn't feasible 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And now it is,
Okay.
right? So,
Yeah, I would like to talk more with you about how we can advocate and like to BC Hydro as well as to the provincial government about getting clean energy to the valley.
yeah,
I'm
well, that's
very, yeah, I really appreciate your time and your presentation. And I hope that we can sit down and chat about it more. Mr. Westergaard, thank you very much for your time today. Thank you. Okay, so and next in our delegations, we have a presentation from Hilary Thorpe from Parks Canada on the proposed National Marine Conservation Area Reserve. On our original agenda, it said BC Parks, and that is a mistake. So apologies for that. Ms. Thorpe is joining us from Parks Canada. And I think I saw Ms. Thorpe join us online. Welcome, good morning. Sorry, the sun is, it's such a beautiful day here. It's really lit up.
No, it's lovely to have sun anywhere in February, so I'm glad to see it there for you guys.
Yes, welcome. And I think, I don't know if you have a presentation and we can enable screen sharing for you, but the floor is yours. Welcome to the meeting.
Thank you so much. And it's lovely to be here. I'm here with Stephanie Fung as well, who's on the Parks Canada team, who's working on our communications and engagement. So we'll both be here. Most of our team is actually in a meeting right now with the forestry sector. And so we're a slimmed down team for this morning. But one of the things we wanted to kind of highlight is that we're happy to come back and give a longer presentation or have a longer discussion. So this will be a quick one, more of an intro, but happy to come back anytime that's convenient for you guys. And it looks like I can share my screen, so I will do that. After I introduce myself, so yes, my name's Hilary Thorpe. I'm the manager of National Marine Conservation Area Establishment for the Pacific region. So working on new NMCA proposals, 3 of them in BC, one of which is on the Central Coast. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. And we usually give a longer presentation, so I'll try to go as quickly as possible. But feel free to interrupt as I'm going along if you need me to pick it up or if there are questions, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes,
Yeah.
we see the like the presenter view, I believe.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, there we go. Now I see the presentation.
good. Can you see
Yeah.
now? Yeah, okay. Okay, so we'll start with an introduction to what this initiative is. So we're working on a feasibility assessment for a National Marine Conservation Area Reserve. It's kind of a long acronym. NMCA is what we shorten it to, or NMCA-R, which is the reserve added to it. And that is in the case where Indigenous land claims exist. And so in BC, all of our national parks and NMCAs are actually national park reserves and National Marine Conservation Area reserves. So we're exploring the feasibility of establishing an NMCA-R, which is basically Parks Canada's type of marine protected area on the Central Coast. And it's being guided by a steering committee with representatives from 6 nations, the Wekino, Heiltsuk, Newhawk, Kitasoo, Hehe, Gitga'at, and Gitxaala, as well as the province of BC and the government of Canada. So it's led by Parks Canada, but we also have DFO involved. So those of you who are in this meeting are familiar with this, but there are lots of reasons why the partners are interested in establishing a National Marine Conservation Area Reserve in the Central Coast. It's an exceptional area for ecological reasons and also for cultural values. And our nation partners are very clear that what we're trying to do is not just for today, but for our grandchildren. And we really want to kind of continue to foster the connection between people and the ocean. We know that there's also a lot of economic values in the area, commercial fishing as well as logging, and NMCAs are different from national parks in that ecologically sustainable uses are allowed to continue. So it's a multiple use kind of area where there are zones of higher protection and zones where uses such as shellfish and marine plant aquaculture, recreational boating and fishing, ecotourism, shipping, commercial fishing, as well as monitoring and research and renewable energy can continue. So there are lots of reasons why we're interested in establishing a National Marine Conservation Area in this area. You know, the Central Coast, along with the rest of the world, really is experiencing many pressures from climate change, invasive species pollution, and resource uses. And marine protected areas are a way to address the challenges of biodiversity loss and climate change. They're something that are considered a nature-based solution to protect the environment. And as well as having these kind of benefits of helping to reduce biodiversity loss, there are cultural and social benefits of MPAs that have been demonstrated, as well as ecological and economic benefits, particularly over the long term. So as many of you in the room are probably familiar with, there's been a long history of marine planning on the Central Coast, starting with individual nations developing marine use plans. And then together, the nations worked on, with the province of BC as well, the Central Coast Marine Plan and the North Coast Marine Plan. And then those got brought into a bigger process for the entire Northern Shelf bioregion. And that it was released in February of last year at Impact 5. And this network action plan recommended protecting the Central Coast area as a National Marine Conservation Area Reserve. So this work has been kind of in the works for a while, although this is the first time that we're out talking about this feasibility assessment. So I've talked about this a little bit, but NMCAs are a type of marine, the Parks Canada type of marine protected area. And their primary aim is to protect marine biodiversity and ecosystems. And they're administered under an act, the Canada National Marine Conservation Areas Act. But as I said, they're also a way that use can be managed in an ecologically sustainable manner that contributes to economic benefits and opportunities for Indigenous peoples and coastal communities. So this is a slide that shows what is allowed in NMCAs. So this is kind of the zoning framework. And through management planning, which comes down the road, if we get to the point that an NMCAR is established on the Central Coast, then there's a zoning process that determines which areas will be in what different kinds of zones. So zone 1 is the most restrictive, where traditional use and scientific research are the only allowable uses. These are areas that are typically quite small, just very, like in Guayhanas, where I used to work, there are small zone 1 areas around sea lion rookeries. So, you know, only a couple hundred meters. Zone 2 is a kind of more general protection zone, but it's considered a no-take zone. So commercial and recreational fishing are not allowed, although recreational boating and activities are allowed in Zone 2. And then Zone 3 and Zone 4 are the multiple use zones that allow quite a wide range of uses. So what's not allowed in NMCAs, there are 4 main prohibitions. So oil and gas exploration, development, and production are not allowed in NMCAs, as well as mineral exploration and exploitation. So if an NMCA is created in this area, part of it means relinquishment of oil and gas and mining tenures. And then through the minimum protected MPA protection standard, which was also released in 2023, although it was announced in 2019, is 2 additional prohibitions that are in all federal marine protected areas. So the first is disposal at sea of waste and other matter, dumping of fill, deposit of deleterious drugs and pesticides, and enhanced restrictions on vessel discharges. So this is the most complicated of all the restrictions, but we can talk about that more if people have questions. But it does mean that some uses are not allowed in NMCAs. And then the final one is bottom trawl fishing gear. So in NMCAs, bottom trawling is no longer allowed. And so that means that through this process, we're paying special attention to the bottom trawl industry. There's not very much bottom trawling in the proposed footprint, but it won't be allowed in a future NMCA. So we have a 5-step process to establish NMCAs, and we're currently in the 3rd step, which is assessing the feasibility. So what that means is partners get together, we talk about issues and kind of a vision, and we go out to consult like we're doing right now, and seeking input on the proposal, which is basically, how do people feel about establishing an NMCA on the Central Coast? So if the partners agree that establishing a National Marine Conservation Area Reserve in the Central Coast is both feasible and desirable, then the next step is to negotiate an establishment agreement. And the current phase we're aiming to complete in June of this year. So this is the area that we are looking at. So it illustrates the draft outer boundary. So the blue area is what we're considering or proposing for an NMCA on the Central Coast. It's an area of about 7,800 kilometers squared. This is the proposal. So what we're doing right now is going out and talking to people about these areas and what an NMCA is, and kind of assessing interests and concerns in establishing an NMCA in this area. So this is really, it's a proposal, it's not a final boundary, and we expect that it will be modified through our consultation. So basically, if people have input on where the NMCA boundary should be modified, that's something we're considering. And we expect that some areas will be excluded, for example, around communities where it makes sense not to, be included in the NMCA. There would be some kind of buffer zone to make sure that it doesn't kind of create an additional administrative burden for communities. So if the NMCA does advance, then we start working on a zoning plan after establishment, and that's there's a huge consultation process associated with the management plan. To figure out where those zones of higher protection would be and where the zones of multiple use would be. And there's been a lot of work done already through the Network Action Plan to propose zones, and that would be kind of a starting point, but we do try to make it as kind of open and inclusive a consultation process as possible during the management planning phase, because that's what communities really care about is that point where we figure out where certain uses are allowed and where they won't be. So this is another map that shows the areas that were proposed through the MPA network process. So the yellow zones were the ones that were proposed through that process, and then the kind of blue hatched areas are the additional areas that are proposed to be part of the NMCAR footprint. The idea being that if there's one bigger area, it simplifies administration, management, and monitoring, and enables increased collaborative management among the partners. So, as I said, we're in this engagement phase right now, where we have an online comment card or a survey available until March 15th. And we're having bilateral meetings with sectors. And we had open houses in Bella Bella, Bella Coola, and Rivers Inlet in January and February. And we are really open to having more meetings, just kind of we're trying to cast the net wide and be available to talk to interested folks as much as possible.
Hillary, or pardon me, Thorpe, I'm going to just
Yeah.
interrupt you for a moment because we are just coming to the end of the presentation time that we've allotted. So I just wanted to make sure that we get through everything that you wanted to cover before the time runs out.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, I think that was the last slide right here.
Well done.
Okay, so we can share this presentation, and I'll just stop sharing my screen so I can see you guys. Okay.
There we go. Wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much for the presentation. I see that Director Hall has his hand up, and I'm going to give him a chance to ask a question or comment.
Yeah, just a comment and a bit of a question. With regards to the NMCA and how far they extend out into the Pacific Ocean, as you're aware, there's a shelf that goes out quite a ways. I'm just wondering why we're not trying to focus on that shelf as well, because the trawlers that have access to those shelves damage a lot of the seabed, and we should be protecting theirs because there's glass. What are they called again?
Glass sponge reefs.
Yeah, sponge reefs and whatnot that, in my opinion, should be protected. And normally, when these plans are created, I thought they were done, or the idea was to extend out as far as the country's boundary. Really, I think it's a 200-mile shelf or something like that. But just a general comment and question about why it's not extended out beyond that shelf.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. There is, so we can look at the MPA Network Action Plan. You can kind of see where all of the proposed MPAs are, and there is that Hecate Strait, Glass Sponge Reef, Marine Protected Area. So the study area that we started with was bigger and went further out than the current proposed boundary. And the reason is basically a compromise because there is so much area proposed for marine protection in the whole Northern Shelf bioregion, and so concern about finding that balance between economic opportunities and conservation. But we're really like, it's really the boundary that we're asking for input on at this stage. Like, everybody wants to get into management planning because that's really what people care about. But we're like, okay, we need to make a outer boundary before we start management planning. And so we are interested to hear that input, like that kind of mostly people want to make it smaller, but we would love to hear input on people wanting to make it bigger as well. So hopefully,
The question is related to what activities are occurring further out. I did have a brief stint as the marine planning coordinator, taking on Julie Carpenter's job temporarily, and had our plan ratified to the community.
Yeah.
So I understand these plans, and I understand their involvement with this type of research and development of this type of plan. So thank you for your presentation, and I look forward to more development of this plan. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Other questions or comments from directors?
So I guess, how does this fit in with those map guys? Are you guys ramrodding things right on top of them and taking over, or how is that working?
Yeah, it's a really good question that we're trying to figure out. And fortunately, everybody is in the room together and we're trying to figure it out. And our goal is to make things, less complicated rather than more complicated. So usually in NMCA's, what happens is that the province transfers the seabed to the federal government, and then the federal government or Parks Canada plays the role of the province in administering tenures and that kind of thing. It's a little bit more complicated in this area because it's busy and there's a lot going on. And so we're trying to figure, there's a lot of provincial designations and conservancies already. So that is something we're trying to figure out. We're in the feasibility stage, and at this stage it's more like, is everybody interested in this? If so, let's keep going. But there are lots of details that need to be sorted out, and the role of MAP is a huge one of them.
Yeah, because this process you're on right now was started about 20 years ago, and then it was and then it was Harper shut it down. So I'm thinking, well, maybe that's going to happen again when the prime minister's leaving the next election. So who knows? And then that's why MAP was started in the first place, was to take over from you guys, and then now you're back on the scene again. So it's very confusing for me.
I hear you so much. Yeah, and we're just trying to get things as far as they can and sort of use the windows of opportunity as they arise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, oh, go ahead, Dr.
Sorry, I just want to say that, so the next time you come out to visit the Outer Coast, maybe put out your own advertisements that aren't so convoluted, that people would show up and so we'd understand what was going on. I personally saw the ad for what you're doing, and I didn't know what was going on. It said it was a HELSUC marine plan to tell you what's going on this year and with the HELSUC, but it apparently had nothing to do with that. It was you guys.
Right. Well, Steph maybe wants to jump on, but we are really open to kind of hearing about, like, if the community would like us to come back and have some kind of meeting, we're happy to do remote anytime. But yeah, we can also come back, and our apologies for that. I know it kind of came out late. We are, as we were saying, trying to use the window of opportunity, and so everything is going much faster than it usually does.
Sure.
And so we're just doing our best, but
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I think the only questions I have are like more like management questions, as far as like, funding for the disposal of waste and things to help support the communities. And it sounds like that's not what we're looking at this time. So I won't, because of time restraints, we won't go into that this time, but I hope that we can stay posted on the project and stay in communication.
For sure. Yes, reach out anytime, and we're happy to come back anytime. And we'll keep you in the loop.
Wonderful. Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation today, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for the discussion. We'll talk soon.
You bet. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, great. So next on our list, we do have a delegation from Mr. Macy. I don't know if he's joining us online, perhaps. Is Mr. Macy online? No.
I'm just gonna be here.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
10:30.
We figured 10:30 he would be here. Okay. Okay, well, we will move on to our public input period. So how should I take some names down perhaps, or has that already happened? I see that you'd like to speak. I'll put you up first, Jacob. And I will also give people online an opportunity for public engagement as well. So if you're online, please use the raise hand feature and I'll call on you to speak. Also, we have 2 minutes, so please do not be offended if you're cut off at the 2 minutes. And I would like to remind everyone to be respectful and thank you in advance. So we're going to start with Mr. Hiller and go for it.
Hello to the board and to Madame. I'm speaking on the behalf of, in proxy of Thor Diskeen. And so he's sending a letter to you guys and he wanted me to read this into the public record. So any questions will be directed at him and not myself. So this is for inclusion into the February 22nd, 2024 Central Coast Regional District Board meeting. I am writing to ask the Board of Directors to consider removing commercial board tipping fees, cardboard tipping fees, to greatly reduce the above tipping fees. Commercial cardboard is transported to the Thorson Creek landfill site by a third-party handler where volume is assessed and recorded. The commercial cardboard is then dumped at the burn site on the landfill property, where it is then set afire and burnt by the contractor that takes care of this process. The commercial business that have take these glasses off, it's better. Their commercial cardboard transported to the landfill have been under the impression that the cardboard is recycled, and that is why the tipping fees are charged. Given the fact that the cardboard is simply being burnt, which would also contribute to carbon emissions, coupled with the fact that there is minimal handling of commercial cardboard by landfill contractors, it appears that the tipping fees are high. Erdemson, no doubt, there are insurance premiums to factor into the question. Insurance premiums to factor into this question. But even considering those fees into the equation, the high tipping fee rates are not substantiated. Thank you in advance for the opportunity to offer suggestions and comments to the CCRD Board of Directors, and we look forward to your timely response.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we'll take that into consideration and that will be included in the. Thank you very much.
I'd like a stamp on it. Thank you.
Great.
One quick second, we're
Okay.
having a bit of a technical issue. We have a timer. Stat, how's that going? Not well? Put a timer on my phone then. Let me know if we get it fixed.
While we're getting that organized, I have Mrs. Nyland next for public input.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Chair Kennedy and Director Northeast. First of all, the last time I spoke, I was interrupted by you saying that the email that I wanted to show, you said was private. You are a public servant, CCRD stuff on it everywhere. And your note said that the idea of having a fire coordinator was dead, not happening. Why now? Because they're $40,000. You constantly say that you were only getting paid $800 a month. According to your budget in 2022, you got $21,770. Your expenses were $14,450. So I divided $21,770 by 12, and that comes out to $18,14 a month. Now, I believe the $800 stipend that you get is part of that. But I just, like you're not getting paid $800 a month. And you also get when you go to a convention, you get $290 a day. When you're at a special meeting, you get $45 an hour. And your cell and computer, you get $90 a month. The other thing I want to say, directing to you and Director Emery, when I asked him why the high increase, he laughed in my face in the co-op. And he said, just wait until 2024. That's not allowed. He is our rep, the CCRD. We are your bosses, not you, our bosses. And his attitude needs to be adjusted. And the other is the different comments about the CAO. At least today, I see him Usually his back is to me, he gets up, hands out business cards, and totally no respect for us.
Thank you very much for your time today.
got 2 minutes?
That's 2 minutes, yes.
Okay,
Thank you very much. I can say that, when I am away, I am paid for that time. I take time off work to go to those meetings. So yes, for this meeting and for the meetings that I have with constituents, that is what is included in the $800 a month. When I'm away and travel, I get paid for that accordingly. And I'm not able to do my other job, so I don't get paid, for my other job. So yes, you're right. I'm getting paid while I'm away. You're right. Okay. So, and that is where that discrepancy is, because when I'm away, I'm getting paid daily as well as the monthly salary, because I'm away from my home, family, life, work. Okay, and is there anyone online that would like to put their hand up? Looks like no, so we're ready for the next, Mr. Matthews.
Morning, Madam Chair and Directors. The Belleville Valley Taxpayers Alliance Association sent a list of questions prior to the CCRD's budget presentation, which has not been addressed to date. The question to the CCRD: how can a budget decision be considered when the association's questions have not been addressed? A further question to the CCRD: does the association need to formally request the CCRD to hold a public meeting regarding the budget, as the CCRD has failed to do so? It is the Taxpayers Alliance Association's understanding that a budget survey was undertaken this past summer. Our question is, where was the public consultation regarding the CCRD's responses to that survey? Why were the questions raised not responded to in a public forum? Of a further note, the association wants to express that the numbers mentioned in the paper article of folks protesting both inside and outside the CCRD office were totally erroneous, and shows that the CCRD staff and directors are not paying attention to its electorate, which does not bode well for the re-election process of directors. Directors are servants to the folks who elect them, and it would be extremely pleasing if the directors acted in a manner that serves the electorate. It is with great disappointment to the association regarding the CCRD's concept of public consultation. A presentation does not constitute a consultation. There was no time allotted to ask appropriate questions, contemplate responses for consideration of budget line items, what these line items mean, and what those line items entail. Once those definitions are communicated and the criteria is known, folks will either understand or can ask appropriate questions. This is much better than having the public assuming what those line items mean and entail. Thus, opposition and complaining are curtailed, resulting with some public acceptance of the budget, especially since Valley taxes have increased over 33% plus in 22, again for 22% plus in 23, with a projected further increase of approximately 15% 2024, resulting in a tax increase of over 70% in total. Presentations without definitions of criteria outlined, with submitted questions addressed and line items communicated, does not mean public consultation regarding the proposed CCRD budget for 2024 was carried out.
I have to cut you off.
Okay,
there, Mr.
and that's
Matthews.
fine.
Thank you very much.
So I would like to submit this
Okay,
in correspondence.
thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
The next speaker, Mr. Fraser, go ahead.
I just have what I hope is a simple question. Should be a simple question, should get a simple response. My question is on the massive use of contingencies within this budget. In my background of project management, contingencies are a very specific thing that have to be well identified. So in my calculation, there's over $216,000 worth of contingency money. What is this contingency money for specifically, especially in such massive doses? As one example, Haggensburg Fire Protection, $80,000 contingency fund on a $44,000 operating expense. That is close to 200%. This is not management. Why are there such massive unaccounted for contingencies? That's my question.
Thank you very much for your time.
That's right. Can you give us an answer?
Well, we can't, if I don't have the information in front of me, it's really hard to
You
give.
passed this budget, you passed the contingencies to date, so explain. You must know you passed it. Are you
Yes.
passing things you don't know that you're passing?
No, but
Then why is there an $80,000 contingency fund? You, sir, are not part of this. They pass the budget, you must know.
okay, thank you very much for your time. Thank you. It's just not, it's not a one-word answer. It's not go, you can do a freedom of information request, you can, I do know, but it's, okay, thank you, everybody, but we're not joining in. No, okay, that's enough. Thank you. Thank you very much.
What do you mean? So again, you're choosing to ignore your.
I'm not-
We can ask administration to address that specific question.
So you don't know either of them?
Yeah.
So nobody knows?
Okay, we are not in a debate. This is an opportunity for you to bring your questions, your concerns to us. We will respond in an.
You never respond. For 6 months, people have been asking questions.
Okay,
and
this is
you
what I'm
never
going to do.
respond. We're asking for a response. You said you know, respond.
We are going to request administration respond to your question. So that it's in, so, okay, what I'm saying is, for example, Mrs. Nyland provided an email. I made a mistake. I make mistakes. I'm in error, remembered the situation wrong. And I wish I could go back and change it. It's in writing. So when I say something, I need to make sure that it's true. And I made a mistake. So I'm not going to sit here and say something off the top of my head and then have it repeated back to me time and time again if I make a mistake. So I need to check, I need to dot my I's and cross my T's and make sure that the answer that I provide you is the correct answer. And
This
this
is a
is
budget
time
meeting.
for,
You should have your budgets in front of you and. the-
right now, this is public input time. And this is your time to speak to us. And we hear you, we will provide a response. Thank you very much. It's not you're all done. Thank you. Thank you.
No,
Yeah.
not done, but yes.
Thank you. Mr. Slingerland, did you,
No, I think we'll just move on to the next one.
okay,
Administration will look into this, get back to you.
yes, we will get back to you. Yes, but, and you,
Thank you, Mayor
and your name is
Tim Case.
Tim Case. Thank you.
Sorry.
I've heard, Case, see it, isn't it? I've heard you say more than once, and other directors say that they talk to constituents who are very happy and they're pleased with what's going on. I don't doubt that because I don't know you to be telling lies. But I'm an area, see your area. I've yet to find a constituent that is happy, and I know a lot of people. So I was just wondering if today you could tell me some of the things that I can let them know that will make them happy with these ridiculous tax increases.
What I can say is that in our public input consultation, we do go through everything that we've done differently and all of the increased effort that we have put forward in communication. So this public input, we didn't do this before. This is new. This is because we want to listen to you. We increased our public input 3 times this year. This is more than we've ever done before. And just the time that we have spent on, information requests and things like that we've never been able to provide that before. And go ahead, it's your time. I don't want to take up your time.
Answering questions. And if you could just give me a couple examples that your happy constituents that you meet with wherever in your home or in the store, what they're happy about. So I can pass that on to everyone else that is extremely unhappy because.
Yeah.
Like I know we live up valley and nothing's changed, millions have been spent, but there's been no benefits that people can see. So could you tell me a couple things quickly?
We are moving forward with project.
And you want to answer questions?
Oh, okay, thank you.
That's just a blanket answer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Hiller?
On my personal self here.
Okay.
So in the last agenda we had on page 310 of 370, very deep down in the documents of the last agenda, and I can't find this agenda anymore on the website, but I did print it off, so that's good. It's on Columbia letterhead, so this is pretty official. It's directed to the CAO, which is somewhat odd. And if you actually read into the letters, into the actual details, you do research, you look at
United Nations in Sendai and disaster risk reduction. When you actually read this letter, is actually transferring sovereignty to foreign powers. Very interesting. This is the document that conspiracy theorists have been waiting for years. This is no longer conspiracy. This is from the province. Don't be laughing, Director. This is real, like, government documentation. So this is now conspiracy fact. And so, like, what another piece of bureaucracy? Environmental Disaster and Mismanagement Act. We have Bill 31 coming down, and it's empowering people who are non-elected to take control of our region. Look into this, people. I deplore you. Like, look at this. I have a couple of copies. I can hand them out if you're very interested. Well, you should be interested, because the governance is going to change. We're no longer in a democracy. Because, as Curtis has said, this is happening whether you like it or not. That's where democracy ends. So this time next month, or whenever Curtis signs the documents, that's when things change. So keep your eyes out for that. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Mr. Hiller. Who would like, yes? And
My name is Cora, C-O-R-A, last name is Lindley-Hunter. It's unfortunate that that those gentlemen, have they gone offline or?
they're still with us.
Oh, well, it's hard to talk to someone that
Unfortunately,
can't see.
our connections aren't always good on the outer coast, and it takes less to turn your camera off. So the gentlemen are still with us and they are listening, but we can't always.
see them laughing.
Yeah,
Still here, still here.
Okay.
go ahead, your time has begun. Thank you.
Madam Chair, directors, Canada is still a democratic country. Therefore, I am exercising my constitutional right to freedom of speech. So first, good deeds should never go without being recognized. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to those who have kindly supported our peaceful protest by providing food and beverage. And thank you so much to the Cumberland Inn and to the CCRD CAO. We did appreciate it very much. Secondly, I ask, and this is a question very much like Mr. Fraser's, but I would like to know why there is such a huge amount of money, almost $1 million within the budget, in only contingency and surplus money. How specifically is this to be spent? And why would it not reflect in a property tax rollback of 50% or 500 or 700 rather, and $67,000? That's my question.
We will be going through the budget again later in this meeting, and we can look at all of those pieces. And so, so today we're going to be going through the budget for how many times have we gone? 5 times, 6 times. And hopefully that will answer your question.
So then, and the directors can say for sure that you actually know what you're passing?
Yes,
No,
thank you. And
budget
your time is up. Thank you very much.
And
Yes,
can
thank
I,
you.
can I just
Of
add
course,
that
yeah.
I think there is a case to be made for some education, and I mean that with respect, information to the public to explain the role of surplus and contingencies. And I think that's a fair question. And I'm going to ask that administration respond to that. Not right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair, for sure. Another person for public input. Is there anyone else who would like to speak right now? Oh, I have to do, only everybody gets one chance. Sorry, I can't go back.
I'm speaking on behalf of a different organization.
Are we?
No, we don't let multiple speakers here.
Sorry.
We kind of let that.
I did.
That
I know, that was my bad. That was my bad.
I was a proxy and then I.
No,
I know, that was my bad. I should have been more, sorry,
Yeah.
I apologize. I made a mistake. I'm
I
sorry.
think there was a
Oh, was there someone else? Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. And if you could also say your name and
Mary Willis.
Mary Willis, thank you very much.
And I have two questions. Why are you not clear and honest about the benefits to our community and the use of our hard-earned money? And the other one is, why do administrative costs show reductions almost everywhere, yet there's no reduction in staff or visible savings anywhere?
Yes. There's red all over our budgets. We've done lots of cuts, and there a lot of costs have also gone up in different areas. So
Yeah, and people that don't know how to read a budget would probably think that's right.
Okay.
But thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Willis, would you mind reading your first question to me again? I'm trying to get the, I think I missed something there.
Why are you not clear and honest about the benefits to our community and the use of our hard-earned money?
Oh, okay, I did get it right. Okay, thank you.
Yes, it's Mark. So if you could say your last name.
Thank you, board. Thank you, Madam Kennedy. My question pertains to kind of a sore point here in the valley. It's been going on for a little while. It's the construction of the swimming pool. So, question is as follows: why is the taxpayer subsidizing the pool project through tax dollars as well as using other grant money? For example, the Community Growing Fund and the COW. Is the pool grant not sufficiently able to stand on its own budget for project completion?
It's a short answer.
Why?
Because it costs a lot more than it did when we received the grant. Costs have gone up, have skyrocketed. Because, well, there was COVID and everything went on hold. So every project in the province went on hold. And so there became a big backlog, and construction costs, as we all know, have gone up through the roof. And so that money was no longer enough money to complete the project. And so, yeah, we've just been kind of doing our best to still make that project happen, because we have heard that it is really important to the community, and we're doing our best to make sure that, like resoundingly, we had almost the same number of people in this room to talk about that last year. So it is hugely supported by the community. It's what we heard loud and clear last year was a huge priority. And so it's not your turn right now. I'm sorry, I have to keep order. And so, yeah, we're working hard to make sure that project is completed and that we don't lose that funding.
Okay, any timeline? Do we know?
Working hard. We're working very hard, and we are moving forward. Thank you very much.
Can I make a comment to the pool?
Would you like would you like to do public input? Would you like 2 minutes?
Well,
You will be our last speaker.
I need to speak too.
Okay, if you'd like to.
He's gonna invite some marks.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, everyone. I can run this meeting. It's fine. I know that Mr. Macy is here. He has 15 minutes. Right now, it's 2 minutes for public input. So
Okay.
I'm going to give you 2 minutes.
Well, thank you.
You go for it. Thank you.
Mark's question of the pool, and there's a lot of people concerned about that. And quite some time ago, Interfor had $3 million for a community center pool, skating, curling. And Mr. Dosanjh put up match funds, which Sawicki had access to. There was $6 million in the community for pool, and that was all pushed off the table. Alternate agenda. Their total focus of the day, including the board and economic development, their total focus was community forest and local sawmilling. And they didn't want Interfor here, not for anything. Didn't want to take their free lunch. So here we are with a pool that needs repair, and I understand $50,000 for a consultant who told you the pool has a leak. I fix cracks. I'd be happy to fix that pool for $50,000 sight unseen. You know, going to consultants isn't prudent use of our money. Can I start my 15 minutes?
I think we can. I think we can. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, there are other people that want 2 minutes.
I know, but we've had that's our public input. We do 10. And then we have to move on. Okay, we need to take a recess. If people continue to speak, I will call a recess. So it's Mr.
Constantly making your rules.
No, okay, we're taking a recess. We're taking a 10-minute recess. We're just gonna take a break.
50.
And okay,
You can carry on with the
Thank you.
2-minute people. That'd be fine with me.
that's not,
I want to hear from.
thank you very much. But yeah, we will begin in 10 minutes with your
Can you
delegation.
extend by 5? You have the authority to extend 5 more questions. If there's 5 more questions.
I know, I do realize that, but this is it. This is good. And I can sit down with people, anybody who wants to talk and answer questions. But we have a really full agenda today. We're going to be going through the whole budget and budget engagement and all those things. And I would
Just
like to
5
get through
more,
it.
please.
That's it. Thank you. We're just gonna take a break. I need a little break from everything. So, yeah. And we'll just take a moment. Yeah.
Good question.
Oh, my nephew went through that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty steep.
Just want that card.
Same as everybody else. What can I say?
I call it the document. Anybody want the document? The document?
I would like one of those documents. No, it's not cracked, so I'm accessible right now. Angles of my muscles, but it's pretty much. Yes.
There's another one.
I don't know, I'm running this all like that.
I don't know, I think it's a pretty serious issue. Probably about
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we're so much.
Let's just. But look at sundive. Yeah. So wondering, is there gonna be like? You have to almost. Yes. I'll let
Already.
To me, it's the scariest thing about my characters, but that's.
Let's see. Just look for a little bit. Maybe I'll open this door too.
Honey. Oh, it's very, yeah. They weren't listening at all.
Is that, you just stick up the bin, yeah.
5 more.
No, that's for sure. Oof. Not when we've got, yeah, it gets warm in here.
Steve's happy. You don't get the sun favorite that way anymore. Even if you like must be. No. I do.
Oh, it's good. Yeah. Well, never, you know why the leaves turn brown? The leaves turn brown and they don't fall off the trees anymore. Support. Yeah, walked it in. What happens when you spray aluminum on?
I just had some air.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. Tell me. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Oh, okay.
Don't you put those, you used to have those in like soya.
I have one in my bag. It's happening.
Is that your illegal tree?
That's what I'm saying, like, yeah, when the caffeine starts going down, so like in the morning, I make my coffee and I have one, and I have a hat, and I feel like my, yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's it, and then I'm going to the afternoon, and yeah. Yeah. That's magic. Bad.
You're bad.
Too bad.
Can I go give them a bit of a warning?
Okay.
Where's the, it's, if you go along, it's man-made hydro lake. Oh, then you go try to use them. Isn't that one of you? Yeah. They want to say this. I believe.
Sorry.
Temporarily.
Okay. Okay. Great. I'm gonna introduce you. I'll just wait for the room. I'm just gonna call the meeting back to order. It's 10:30 and we've had a little break, so I'm just gonna ask everyone to be silent so we can listen to Mr. Macy's delegation on the 2024 budget presentation.
Yeah, we're not doing any more 2 minutes.
It's Mr. Macy's turn. Thank you, Mr. Macy. Your time will begin.
Well, thank you, board. Participation is part of the community. Last month when I spoke about the nightmare of economic development history, I did mention that we can restore our tourism by securing our wildlife corridor and get the global environmental community involved, and our place will retain the thriving tourism that we had. I mentioned our small business logging and salvage. There's salvage logs going rotten all over the place, and guys with big investments have lost their investments, and nobody's speaking up for them. And Jamie, you and Lawrence, I've showed you the destroyed habitat that's on my place and adjacent, and there's no action. None. And of course, now with the wording native-led enhancement, well, the natives have a long ways to go on their healing journey and they need encouragement. But I don't see anybody putting up their hands except for me. A potentate has to speak up to get things rolling. I just get rolled over because I'm just a little person. And they're kind of hoping that I starve out, but I'm not going to. Due diligence is really the foundation of what your budget should be. Prudent use of public funds means it's not empire building. It's not a free for all. Looky, we can go to Vancouver and stay in big hotels. Champagne, caviar lunches. No, it's not what this community is about. The CCRD is obligated to submit a balanced budget. Balanced budget meaning, well, if you raise the taxes to support extra spending, or you reduce the government to a point where what the tax cuts that we're going to be asking for are achieved, and it's not going to be easy. But as this community did run with one secretary, and it ran well, and the community was prosperous, I was hoping for more people, but I would like to forward a motion to, being that a climate for economic development is different than an economic development that tells us who's going to have and have not jobs. So I forward a motion to expunge the economic development program. Gone. We don't need it.
I would second that motion. Yeah.
This is not a back and forth. This is Mr. Macy's time. Thank you.
Whoa.
Point of order.
No,
No.
that's my,
You don't.
you don't get to do that. This is, I'm sorry.
Members of this.
I'm the chair of this community. It's Mr. Macy's time to present. That's the last warning I'm going to give to members of the
So
gallery. Thank you.
I'm forming a motion and it's been second. Now,
True, that's not how it works. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but continue your presentation.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to hear.
we're going to have a vote, and we're going to ask all the people in the assembly. I motion that the expunge the economic development program and be finished with it. And I ask all those in favor of support expunging the economic development to raise hands.
It's like 100%.
Mr. Hillard, that's your last warning.
Now we have to ask those who support the economic development and wish this office to continue to raise hands.
Not even.
This is because this isn't how it works. Mr. Nestegard, that's your last warning as well. That's it.
This is Robert rules.
Okay, Mr. Hillary, you're gonna have to leave the meeting now. If you
Exactly.
can't follow the rules, yes, I would like you to leave the meeting now. You're being,
Will I be trespassed if I'm not?
you need to leave the meeting now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I've given you several warnings to please keep your comments. Thank you.
Okay, secondly, I forward motion to reduce the CCRD office staff to one secretary.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, this isn't how this works, you guys.
Yes, it is.
Sorry. I'm sorry, this is not.
This is ridiculous.
I'm gonna have
This
to
is
end the
ridiculous.
delegation, Mr. Macy. I'm sorry, your delegation is over. This isn't,
Now,
I'm
It's
sorry.
not a
but
meeting in a meeting. Come on.
This
let's
is
get
not
real
how it
here.
works. Thank you. This is not, no.
I asked.
Mr. Macy, your meeting,
On
your,
your objection.
Mr. Macy, your
Is your-
delegation is
is your
over. Thank you.
objection
I will be
accepted?
using the gavel in
All
5
in
seconds.
Accepting her
Thank you.
objection, raise
We're
hand.
taking a recess. This
All
meeting
in
is,
favor?
is recessed. Thank you.
Cancel her rejection, raise hands.
Mr. Macy, you're gonna get ejected if you keep.
Yeah.
You need to follow the direction of the chair.
Yes. Yeah.
Rejected, the rejection has been rejected.
This is not a meeting. This is not a meeting.
Yes, it is a meeting.
Well, we're taking a recess.
Long
Yeah.
show.
So we are.
Point of order.
No, this isn't even a meeting. We are on a
They're
recess.
not, they're
This
presentators.
Yeah.
Let's have a chat.
Okay, we're gonna take a little break because this isn't, yeah. I'll be right back.
This is what democracy looks like.
Because this is very, I'm very.
Wow.
And I apologize.
Well, that's.
Well.
It should be. Okay, good people, I was going to ask them to reject their budget. Just clearly reject it. I was going to ask them to slash the property tax 50% from the 2022 budget with surpluses as rebates. Of course, they have to balance their budget within what they get, not what they tell us they want. I was going to ask the amendment to the bylaws for CCRD servants to be residents of not less than 10 years retroactive. That would get this revolving door of people from elsewhere closed. I was going to talk about this guy from Salmon Arm dismissed on the grounds of poor intercourse with the community. And I was going to motion cancel and refresh the credit card so this guy can't leave on our expense.
Right.
Hey, Tom.
Okay, Florida,
Yeah, stay there.
I see.
Well, I'm hoping that the overseers will oversee the minutes. Watching because they cannot shut this down. And especially when her motion to cancel was rejected. And that's right out of the book.
I've spoken.
Mm.
Rejected. They have opportunity. But they.
The problem is you can't make a motion. That's the whole problem.
Yes, you understand.
You're making a presentation. You're not making motions. That's ridiculous.
Are you sure, Steve?
I'm positive.
And what do you base your positivity on? Your deep and thorough knowledge of the Robert's rules, I guess, right?
You guys are making a presentation. You're not running the meeting. I don't understand what you think you're doing.
Looking for answers, that's all.
Yeah, well, I think,
Democracy, Steve, it's a process of self-determination.
We're moving
All right,
forward
sure.
with
Yeah,
something the regional district is not.
well, we're moving forward, but 90% of the questions you guys have, you should be watching the rest of the meetings. And then you would understand the background to the budgets and the reason why there's surpluses, and there's reasons why we're using parts of surpluses, and the reason why there's contingency plans.
And then the question for you is, do you understand the budget that you are passing?
I understand the budget that we are voting on and making up.
Making up.
Maybe that's a poor word to use because everyone will just stretch it out of context, but whatever.
Well, then answer my question, Steve.
Okay,
What's the
all right.
$80,000 for specifically?
What is, say that again?
What is the $80,000 contingency fund within the Regensburg Fire Department for specifically?
Well, I don't have it right in front of me, but I would say it's probably, I would probably say it's to buy a new fire truck.
Then that's asset replacement fund. That's not contingency. You don't what if a fire truck.
Okay,
Well, there
so
you
we're
go.
going to bring this
You already
meeting,
know the answers then.
Mr. Emery.
Slush fund money, right?
No.
You know,
Okay, so
passing slush
we
fund
agree,
money.
Mr. Fraser, I
We're
need you
having
to
a
be, no,
conversation.
that's not what's happening. No, absolutely not. This is everybody's warning. We will not be taking votes. We will not be talking over. If we do, this meeting will be adjourned. This is the last warning. We cannot have a meeting take place like this. This is not how the system works. And this is, yes, so this is your last, your delegation is over. I'm sorry, that is not how we can conduct business under these circumstances, and we are going to move on. So if I do continue to be interrupted, if I do continue to be interrupted, this meeting will be adjourned and we will call a special meeting that will be online so that we can, okay, we are going, yeah, I called it to order. I did.
This is the way they work for us, I guess.
Okay, so this is,
You said you were going to. call
okay,
to order.
I'm calling, this meeting is adjourned. I'm sorry, this is not how we.
So this is not a
do
democratic
business.
country.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Meeting's adjourned.
Okay, everyone, please make your way out of the building.
It's our building. It's our building.
You're straight down in town, how about?
It's time to go, everybody. Thank
Thank you for
you.
your participation.
Kicking us out of a building and balancing the whole thing.
It's time to go. This is,
We've lived here before you were born.
Consultation meeting with the public.
There is a communities ministry.